Hey guys, it's Joe, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make a cool popping synth in Sylenth1. Now if you haven't heard a popping synth before, then this is what they sound like. So I'm going to show you how to make this sound. So first things first, we'll copy that down, and we'll open up our Sylenth, and we're just going to go into Menu, Preset, and Insert, so we can start from scratch. Now we're just going to be using part A for this, we won't be touching part B, we're just going to be using two waveforms. So on our first oscillator, we're just going to put that up by an octave, and we're going to change this to a pulse wave. Also going to give it 8 voices, and we're going to drop that volume right down, literally to like 0.5, really quiet. We're then going to turn phase up to about 140 degrees, 150, and detune to a similar position, like so. Now on our ADSR, we're just going to drop the sustain all the way down, put the decay up a little bit to about 3, and leave the release on 0.1. Now for oscillator A2, we're going to leave the octave where that is. We're going to leave it on sine as well. We're going to give it 5 voices. We're also just going to turn the fine tune up a bit actually to about 0.1, 0.15. Also going to drop that volume down a little bit to about 6.5, and then turn phase and detune up to similar positions as our first oscillator. Now we're going to go over to our filters. We're going to put on a low pass, going to leave it on 24 dB, so it's quite a steep cut, and we're going to turn the cutoff down just a little bit to about 4. Going to turn the resonance up a bit as well. It's going to about 2.5, and drive in a similar position. And now go over to our other filter control, and drop that down to around 3. Leave the resonance on 0, turn on warm drive, and put key track up to about 3 as well. Or 2.5 actually, between 2.5 and 3. Next we're going to go to our Modulation Envelope 1. We're going to turn the sustain right down. We're going to select cutoff A and B from our filters. I'm going to turn this dial to about 3 o'clock, which is about 6 or so on our setting up there. And we're going to turn the decay up a bit to about 3. Cool, so we're heading in the right direction now. It's still not going to sound anything like our end result, so it sounds a little bit weedy. So we're going to just put on some effects now. We're going to put some distortion on, going to leave it on overdrive. That's actually fine, might just drop the amount down a little bit. We'll also add some EQ. We're not going to be using the bass actually, so we're just going to drop that to 0. We'll be using the treble though, and we're just going to give that a bit of a boost, about 9, and drop it all the way down to 440. Next we want some reverb. We're just going to drop the pre-delay down on that. Everything else will be alright. You can play around with that though yourself. And then lastly is the compression, and this is absolutely key. So for the ratio, we're going to put that all the way up to 100 to 1. Which might sound a little bit excessive, but I'll explain why we're doing that in a minute. And we're also going to put the threshold all the way up to -30, and then the attack and release are fine where they are. So our end result now sounds like this. So it actually took me a little while to get this sound, and one of the key parts of it was this compression. Without this ratio on it, this really hard ratio, we're essentially limiting it at this point, to be fair. It's really just slamming that signal straight away, so we're getting that pop at the start. We've raised the threshold, so all the signal's going over it, and it's just being completely compressed, completely squashed down. And that is one of the key aspects of this popping synth. There's still plenty of room to play with here, and areas you can change to make it more your own. It's worth playing around with the wave sounds. I think leaving the first one on pulse is quite key though, leaving it an octave higher, really quiet, gives it that tone, but changing this can give some cool results. I particularly like the tri-saw sound. I think that's really cool. But it's, play around, see what works for your track. And also just changing the balance of them. If this is too loud though, it takes away that popping quality. Also worth playing around with the cutoffs. and then you can really find something that suits you, suits your sound, and something that you want to use and be creative with. So this makes for a really cool lead sound. You can use it in quite a variety of different ways. I would perhaps recommend using a different reverb on it. Probably just use the one that you've got on a bus that you're sending to everything else, and just send a lot of the signal to it, because you want that reverb on it. It sounds really, really bad without it, to be honest. So it's worth changing. But I hope you found this video useful, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment or contact me via my website. Thanks a lot for watching. Cheers.